Hello people of YouTube, it's your boy, Skinny Penis, with another one for the hot streak, and today we're going to play Carrier for once. I know, pretty weird, probably not that much to talk about, in my opinion at least, but I'm hopefully getting across some of the key aspects of why Carrier gameplay is broken, whatever Carrier you're playing, why the AA system, in particular the flux system, isn't really working, unless it's like a few select ships on each tier. Very few though in the entirety of the game. And also why coping about certain carriers being weak is insanely disgusting. So we're playing Richthofen. Obviously I don't want to show like the most broken technology on Akimov or Super Carrier or anything. I quite enjoy Richthofen at least if I play a carrier, just because it's not the most optimal one, since it's a bit limited in terms of targets and targets you can effectively fight. Like it's definitely not covering all the ships in the game. In that regard, like for example, Nakimov can just shit on everything. Richthofen, for example, has some issues against certain battleships or against certain cruisers too, just because of the nature of the RNG-based bombers and also the low damage torpedoes. So what we're doing here is we're starting our fastest squadron. We're starting the rockets. We are going for a quick spot on some flanks. If we're in tier 9 matchmaking again, we do have some cruises that we can citadel, like this, probably Stalingrad too. Other than that, there's not really a good target for our rockets. The Immelmann also, like Richthofen, can't really do much against itself or an Immelmann in terms of striking, just because you can't get citadels with the rockets. If you, for example, play against a Nakimov, going for rocket drops now and then, if he's stationary, flat broadside is actually a very viable option of getting him low, fast, and getting lots of damage for free. We're trying the rockets on the incom just because I spotted out everything now. People are kind of like blobbing up in terms of AA. Trying to maybe get some nice hits here. Oh, we got 4k. Doesn't matter though. For now, everyone is too clumped up on the battlefield that I could get great value out of my bombers, just because of the fact that the bombers of the Richthofen fly so high that if you fly into an AA blob, it's very likely there's a lot of stacked flak, even if you're dropping. You have to remember that flak only spawns above 3 kilometers or 3.5 kilometers. So if you're below, you go into the high DPS mid and short range. Which brings us to the problem with carriers. Carriers like Richthofen or Immelmann that have fast planes have an easy time of completely avoiding flak, just because flak is automated, so it spawns in a, like, you can abuse flak, you can make it spawn in a controlled manner and then dodge it, and then when you're dropping, like here with the torpedoes, I drop now, I get immunity phase on the torps, and I can leave, as you can see, the 3 kilometers super fucking fast with more than 200 knots planes. 230, 240 on Immelmann and Richthofen are essentially dodging the AA for free. What you should do a lot on carriers, or what you should and shouldn't do on carriers is, first of all, you definitely shouldn't try to perma-spot people on purpose with your strike planes. Definitely focus on doing a whole lot of damage fast. That's the nature of carriers. You win most games through insane amounts of damage. You're spotting passively while attacking people anyways, and you can, that's something people don't do, pop fighters in very key areas of the map in front of the enemy, because your fighter spotting is passive, it's for free. Actually, like I'm flying randomly over the Irland who has AA on, so my team can maybe finish him while I'm going for the Alaska. So that's just passive spotting, but I'm not going to stick around. I do want to strike the Alaska. Alaska is a fairly decent target for my bombers. If I get good dispersion here, I could definitely harm him quite a bit. As you can see, we have 18,000 out of the Alaska. Iowa essentially the same, great target for my bombers. I'm not going to turn around into the Alaska and two people's AA. I'm trying to drop the second one as fast as possible because I didn't pre-drop. We're shitting out the bombers again. Sadly, we didn't get a citadel here. That's something people cope a lot about, the, let's say, very RNG based design of the 3 bomb AP squads. Problem with that is the moment you make it super reliable, like release Richthofen, you have a source of doing 100, 150k citadel damage, controlled citadel damage very fast in the game, just because you're getting 2 or 3 citadels every single drop on most of the ships. There are only a few ships that really do ignore the bombs on... he beached. Not a problem though, it's kind of like you can treat it like kind of a pre-drop, and I can just straight up go for the next ship behind him. Maybe get a flooding here. The torpedoes are super easy to hit. We're starting the bombers again since it's a full squad. So we're going for the Alaska because he's stationary on an island. That's something you want to go for with the bombers. In general, I could make an entire list of ships you should and shouldn't drop with the bombs. As said, like some ships just ignore it. French battleships, for example, you shouldn't drop. British battleships or Russian battleships are a super nice target. Also American BBs like Ohio and Monty just eat citadels for free. German BBs and Yamato are a bit more RNG based. You can end up just getting Panzer over Pens on them. But yeah, I'm not going to list everything here, but there's some rules. Maybe you should try it yourself. As to, like, look, the bomb dispersion is very RNG based, so here we end up getting like 0 hits again. The problem is just if I turn around, get the second drop, and it ends up being a triple sit, that man loses all his remaining HP. Actually, yeah, he would essentially get one shot here, kind of. And the damage is unhealable, so the moment you make this damage more reliable on Richter, that's not gonna hit. All my bombs landed in the back part of the drop, which is very sad. For now we don't have to move. It's also something with Richthofen, it has such fast planes that you can essentially stay in spawn for a very long time but still have very short flight paths towards the enemy, just because the flight time is so fast. As mentioned, there is not really a target for our rockets in this game, which is rather sad. We can get some pen damage on battleship broadsides too if we are running out of squads, but for now we have the heals ready. Like as you can see, I'm cycling the squadrons on the torps. You go full speed in here into AA, like you have to be full speed. Then you right before the flag spawns, you recall. No, you not recall. You dive below it, like you go under. I practice Def AA, so we can definitely keep that in mind. It's a very long cooldown Def AA on Stalingrad. I also got a flooding on him. So you saw I instantaneously recalled because I went into the border, so turning it completely around and going for him again would have meant that all my planes most likely die, which isn't really what we're looking for here. And now we finally have, I mean, you go for a kind of singled out target, so you don't have to fly through multiple ships of AA or multiple ships AA while attacking. We're going to pop the heal here. This guy is now completely alone, and conquerors and stuff eat a whole lot of citadels from these bombs. Oh yeah, as you can see, there's double sit 20k, and the thing with that is that's already worth more than the damage of other carriers that drop with HE bombers and do fires like Midway. If a Midway does 20k and fires on a conqueror, the damage isn't worth as much as what I'm doing here. You can, I think I can turn this in. Yeah, well, it could hit him pretty hard. Oh yeah, we got 20k again. Insane. Like as I said, British battleships like Conqueror and Thunderer eat these things for free. Vincent not so much, but still eats too. And we completely griefed his super heal. We did about 35k citadel damage, which he can't heal. So his super heal has essentially been negated by our disgusting nature of the damage, which is citadel damage, 10% only healable. I mean, obviously some ships get a bit more or a bit better ability to heal. Going to pop a fighter here just to keep people lit if the Hector wants to smoke. And I'm going to most likely pre-drop now because I don't have a heal. So, and if I drop the Stalingrad, as you can, like I have to drop the Stalingrad from the 10 line and I would fly straight into other people's AA. So I'm like, I don't really want to waste my last torpedoes, because the torpedoes, while they do little damage, they are super easy to hit and they're super fast, super easy to aim too. So they're a great source of floodings, and like 10k on cruisers you do more than 10k. The torpedoes are designed for cruisers, which by the way, interestingly enough, makes them super easy to hit on very large destroyers. That's the thing, like you have to be very selective about your targets on Richthofen. Your spotting is better than on other CVs just because you're faster and you have 3 squadrons with each having a fighter. I mean, that's something lots of carriers do have. But I'm actually trying to go to this island because I'm going to focus the flank that is pushing currently, because maybe we can kill it out if I spot it and drop it too. And then when this side repushes into A, I'm behind a rock and I can maybe cycle my planes into them too. I wonder if this guy is going to turn in any sort of interesting way now. Trying to get a broadside drop on this Stalingrad. He's very far away from his Iowa, Alaska and Conqueror, so I can most likely just go into this angle here. Sadly, I'm making him turn in towards the torpedoes. I fly in at an angle, then I turn in towards him to dodge most of the flak. I kind of manipulate the flak spawns. I'm going for the under the turret citadels because I think it's the only way I sit him. Yeah, it's 10k citadel damage again. That's the thing, like bombers are doing sit damage, the rockets are doing sit damage, and the torpedo damage on armor belt is also sit damage. So even if you get less average, which by the way isn't the case for me, I have like 160, 170k average in this ship, which is more than on other carriers. But even if you do less average, your damage is more viable or more impactful for the game. Straight up essentially negating the fact that it isn't really a damage farmer. Like, you're also not going to end up getting that many 250, 300k games in it. Very unlikely that happens. Kind of made him smoke here. I can fly through these people's AA just because I leave the Gibraltar AA fast and the Richelieu doesn't really have AA, so I can turn it here, lose some planes. It's not that big of an issue. Going to recover some of them. We didn't really see much of a pre-drop gameplay here, which you should definitely think about on carriers in general, pre-dropping. We're also going to lose the battle, even though I have 130k and 105k spotting. I think I'm doing a decent job of spotting people. Problem is just that my teammates are not really using it at all, and we just had too many people just int without doing or achieving anything. I'm going to fly through the Richelieu A again, trying to get citadels on the Gibraltar, or maybe make him turn flat broadside to our Yamato. I think he's giving me belly, so this could be a very, 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 very good drop, hopefully. Oh yeah, we got 16k with citadels. Pretty disgusting. Now it becomes a bit of a problem that literally everyone in my team is dying. We only have the Hector. We killed the Stalingrad though. The problem is though that the fucking carrier for some reason drops fighter. They didn't tag because they were... I'm going to fly over to the Iowa with my heal on the bomber, which means I can most likely get 2 drops on him, even though I only have 9 planes, just because he's completely alone for now. And at this point I really have to hope that I actually get some citadels. Oh, he got S at the Hector, that's unlucky. I hope he has a smoke ready, because the game is still gonna last for at least 3-4 minutes, and I am spotting for him, so he could do a whole lot more damage and keep the game going even longer. But at this moment it's just a fucking struggle for how much damage we can get. My team wasn't really carryable. That guy could die here. Yep, we got a double sit. I'm not going to go into the Alaska because he's next to the Incomparable. And hey, who do we have here? Our little Conqueror that we fucked earlier with Citadels. So he's very low HP even after healing, just because he can't really heal that much. Maybe he even took Citadels from other people. But it's going to be pretty simple for me to kill him here. Like, it's very unlikely that my dispersion is that bad that I'm not getting a single hit here. Yeah, I got the Citadel there. That's exactly what I needed. Yeah. Well, they're pushing me. I can definitely go into a secondary fight against the Gibraltar for a while and penetrate him too. I probably can kill the Gibraltar if I run it out now. To drop fast. Did some decent damage there. I'm going to autopilot myself into Kite to get my secondaries on target. Essentially that's just damage maximizing, because I'm not going to win this game anymore. Can I even turn in? Yeah, I think I can. Theoretically, with decent bomb dispersion I could fuck him here. I got 1 Citadel. 185k damage. Pretty strong actually. Well, they're angling into my rockets, so I'm not gonna get a lot of damage here. Going to for like superstructure upper belt hits. This guy's coming around for free. I'm actually going to go forward again. Wait, he killed all my secondary mounts? In one salvo? 3 of them? Well, that's pretty based. So yeah, there goes my idea of fucking him with secondaries. Holy shit, he's doing a whole lot of damage with his AP. Improved pan angles, obviously. Fast fuse, like it's super easy for me to kill me. Not citadeling me though. I just need one citadel here, hopefully it comes. Ah, we got him. I'm actually still alive, interestingly enough. We got 200k damage here. We got 3 kills and we got 17 cits, so it's a bit inflated obviously, because rockets do tend to get a lot of citadels. I'm dying here against his torpedoes. Because I was spotted, my fighters were already popped. Yeah, sadly. Not really much I could do. 110 spotting. At some point I didn't really get any spotting damage anymore because the enemy team was just like straight up pushing into my team, so it's not my spotting. Team died too fast, even though we got out a lot of damage, and we switched flanks a bit with spotting. We're ending up first, even though the carrier XP income is limited, reduced. Yeah, that is essentially just a team issue. Like there were too many tier 10s, like a Kreml and a Petrol randomly dying, a Hindenburg doing essentially nothing. Actually gonna quickly peep that one out. Yeah, okay, well if that's your Hindenburg 41%, I mean he's not doing anything. 38% on Hindenburg, 17,000 average. That is considered bot. So even if their Immelmann wasn't good either, the problem was just I had too many bad teammates, and we didn't lose through getting or the enemy team getting 1,000 points and playing 20 minutes. We just lost because my teammates inted, and there's nothing I can do. I'm quickly just going to play the second game. Hopefully we're getting a wee bit better matchmaking in terms of cruises that I can super easily sit. Yeah, that is great matchmaking. That is super strong. We have the Hindenburg, the Moin Yodo, that I can all turbo grief with the rockets. I haven't played Richthofen in the past weeks and stuff, so I haven't ever played it against Yodo, but I would assume, given the nature of the turning circle and how slow the ship turns, and also the citadel and how raised it is, my rockets should grief him pretty hard. I can also use the rockets on the FDR, so there's at least targets where I can use them. Also, I mean, Shimmer doesn't really eat the rockets, or like it eats the rockets, but they don't fuse really much on him, so that's pretty sad target. It's low in the water. Daring though is something I could definitely grief with my rockets. You can get 6-7k hits even if it's AP rockets, and they're easier to aim than the normal HE rockets, since the AP rockets didn't get that large of a delay, most likely because people are already struggling to use them, unless you're completely stationary and flat broadside in a cruiser or any ship. The moment you try to turn and stuff, I mean, it's more, let's say, skill based in terms of your approach. So again, I'm going into one flank. I'm most likely going to pop a fighter here just to keep the battleships lit. That guy doesn't play concealment, so he's spotted from the moon. Under normal circumstances, given that we have lots of long-range BBs too, they should, like, they all play essentially no concealment. Well, haven't spotted a cruiser yet, but in the beginning with the rockets, you can spot out cruisers in the middle that go towards the flanks and that are flat broadside. Wow, who do we have here? That's exactly what I meant. The thing has AA though. I mean, it's super slow to turn, so I'm going to just get into his broadside anyways. Could be big. It was 10k. I also misaimed the rockets. It's a bit hard sometimes to aim them, I'm not going to lie. But problem with the rockets is that you also sometimes end up straight up getting 30k hits on the Moins, Moskvas and stuff. Or Zaos or Hindenburgs. Like, it can be disgusting. And my fighter keeps all their battleship movements spotted. Other side got spotted by itself because they shot our ships, so we exactly know what's going on now. And that's the problem with carrier games. There is no point in concealment really if the enemy CV is somewhat decent or smart. It's because he spots out your entire movements, meaning that yeah, he just takes a massive dump on your conceal for free. Nothing really you can do. The entire team's movements are spotted. There's not going to be major surprises. I mean, you're not going to spot the DDs all the time, which also isn't the problem. If you, for example, spot the daring here randomly, I mean, my team should know that there's a funny little shimmer on the other side. A submarine I spotted in the middle. So yeah, I mean, it's also like you don't have to spot everything in a carrier in the beginning. It's enough if you spot middle and one side, for example, just because you can rule out where all the other ships or what ships are missing. You can rule out the ships that you already spotted, and then you essentially just do quick little math in your head. Two-thirds is spotted, means 1/3 is left, which means that's exactly on the side you're playing. What they're exactly doing is not really needed. You just need to know basically what ships you're playing against. Helps a lot if, for example, there are like a certain amount of radar cruisers, and you're spotting the radar cruisers early for your DDs, meaning your DDs get the ability to play more aggressive for spotting on one flank, same against like enemy destroyers. If I spot out a Smaland early, that would obviously greatly help. But this is something people should do then very fast. Draw conclusions from what the carrier is spotting. Sadly, most random people aren't really doing this. This could be fucking disgusting. Yeah. We just did 21k. That wasn't even like the max I could get. I got 11 rocket hits, but only 5 citadeled. If 7 or 8 of them citadel, this guy is a one-shot. So much for Richthofen is weak. In my opinion, it's one of the more it's one of the stronger carriers. Like, I'd rather play a Richthofen sometimes than a hack in randoms, at least. For some reason. I know that hack is generally stronger, but I'm a big fan of it. And again, you could say that any tier 10 carrier is better than any tier 10 surface ship in terms of impact and stuff. Like, even an Audacious is going to fuck harder with the enemy than any surface ship. So coping about certain carriers being weak is dumb, because you saying they're weak essentially just means you want them to be as broken as all the other carriers, because that's the standard that Wargaming set. It's also the same for tier 8 CVs. Where people say, well, it's not as strong as a Kaga. Yeah, well, sorry, that Kaga is just straight up a tier 10 carrier, most likely. This guy DCP'd the flooding and ping, or the ping of the submarine, and I'm going for permafloods here at the correct time. That is just lucky, to be honest, that you come in at a very, very opportune time. I'm going to move my CV now because the carrier seems to be randomly interested in trying to snipe me, which, by the way, is passively increasing your impact on the game if the enemy is randomly the enemy carrier, especially something like a Midway, a Kiryu. The guy just ate another bunch of torpedoes and is dead. The GK just got one healed by a carrier strike and a submarine attacking him. Wow. Yeah, you're like taking strike power out of the enemy carrier on your team, while he's most likely not going to finish you. Also, the carriers are like designed in a nature, or in a way, that it doesn't matter how much HP you have on your actual ship. As long as you can stay alive behind an island with 1 HP, you're still the same kind of ship and you have the same kind of impact. So yeah, it's just wasted time from his side to go for me. Maybe I should have pre-dropped here. But maybe we're also going to see the funny bombers in action, getting like double sits again. Yep. As I said, these Ohio and Monty eat these fucking bombers for breakfast too. Breakfast, lunch and dinner. You have to work around flak in Richthofen a lot. As said, it has the plane speed, so you can abuse it. You should always fly in at some sort of angle to then be able to manipulate, and with speed boost or like full engine power ready, which allows you to, assuming this island is the ship, I'm not going to straight fly towards him because that's the... Wow! Oh shit, dude. Okay, well, they have a submarine doing the funny in the middle. I think I survived this. Yeah, I survived this. Problem is I'm flooded. He's turning away, so he's not gonna get a fast strike again. I have to turn behind that island. Go into kite. Interesting gameplay there by the submarine. I didn't expect that he goes through the middle unspotted, but he's going to lose dive. Like, he didn't have that much diving capacity. I was talking too much. I mean, there's an indicator that you're being spotted surface by someone in the enemy team. I'm not going to stick around there. I don't really have an armament type that could fuck with a submarine. Maybe the rockets can do a certain amount of damage, but it's like, whatever. If he goes to the surface again, my automated ASW should probably kill him. I'm trying to actually torpedo the Shimmer here, so I can go fast to my can go back to my carrier faster after dropping him, and then pop another fighter on the submarine. Also, I'm keeping him lit here, which is good information for my team. He's back at it again. I'm going to manually steer my carrier now. The ASW does so much damage. I think I have DCP ready. Yeah, exactly. He missed the torpedoes. He doesn't know that I have a... Going to spot him now. He doesn't have diving capacity left, as I suspected, because he went through the middle. Oh, I'm actually doing like some sort of damage to this guy. My planes are spotting him. My auto ASW is going to kill him before he gets the second salvo off. I'm still going to attack him with the rockets. Try to kill him. Funny addition to the game. Oh, actually I'm doing a whole lot of damage. All my rockets somehow pen. And he's dead. We're going to start auto ASW moment. That happens a whole lot in World of Warships at this point. You play a carrier, and because most carrier players are so fucking bad that they can't deal with a submarine. Like, essentially like I was just tunnel visioning on doing damage, doing something with my planes in terms of spotting, supporting my team, griefing Des Moines. I didn't really care about the submarine. Lucky here that he isn't the best player. But I didn't really care about him. But as most carriers, probably they don't have any idea of how to deal with subs. And then they just decided to give him automated cracked ASW that's better than most normal ASW. Meaning you sometimes end up getting turbo random kills in a carrier. Just imagine that. It happened a lot in the few games I've played since they added automated ASW. Especially the tier 8 carriers are super strong because they get tier 6, 8 and 10 subs, so there's lots of chances that there's a submarine going for you. For some reason also the low tier submarines go for carriers an awful lot. But yeah, just randomly end up getting a kill there. The ASW is automated. It has an aimbot, therefore. Also, the ASW does way more damage than normal ships ASW. Triples it! We're doing it to him. We're doing it to him. I mentioned it. Montana and Ohio. Just fucking disgusting how hard you hit the bombs on them and easily. And another Sid. Yeah, we just griefed 40k out of that man for free with citadels, and the improved heal of the Monty doesn't make sense anymore just because he can't heal shit from that damage. We love carriers. So yeah, very weak CV. We got from 205k to 170, and that's an 11-minute game where I had to deal with a demented submarine trying to fuck with me. We're most likely going to get additional drops here. I should have probably started rockets for the carrier. Oh, actually, he killed someone. I mean, he killed someone. The Ohio is still gonna kill him, though. I'm debating. I should have definitely started rockets for the carrier broadside for opportune damage. But if I get both drops out on the Monty, it doesn't really matter. I still get the same amount of damage, kind of. Ohio is just nose parking. Yeah, well, this time I had half decent destroyers, half decent team. Also, my early impact against Des Moines and the spotting in base and the permaflood on the GK was better than last game. But I got really lucky with all of the bombers, just doing that much damage. Additional 10k of permaflood and engine damage, so even if the game would continue, I just killed that guy too. And we're winning. Well, carriers. Super weak CV that Richthofen is, for sure. Just listen to the coping CV mains that want every carrier to be essentially a Nakimov, I guess. It's just beautiful, this game, isn't it? We're ending up as first again. The submarine damage increased our XP greatly, I would assume, but also that we did damage to the Des Moines. That was one torpedo squad and one rocket drop, and we griefed 37k out of him. Most of it is unhealable because it's citadel damage or torpedo damage. We did a quick little 36 and 29k with our AP bombers on the Monties with unhealable damage too. We did a little touchy touch on the Yodo in the beginning. That's a tip, great tip. Like with the torpedo, with the rockets, you should most likely, if you're out for some, if you have good matchmaking with lots of cruisers that have citadels, go straight middle and look for cruiser spotting, because the cruisers from middle are most likely turning into the flanks, so they're flap broadside in the beginning of the match when you arrive. Yes, I know I'm cringe for explaining you how to grief in carriers, but we're going to have a quick look at the captain. Personally, I don't think there's much to say. This is the carrier spec I have on 9 out of 10 carriers in this game. Every carrier that has torpedoes, I play this spec on, just because there is no real use for the other. I would rather have an easier time turning my planes and aiming again with these kind of specs than going for more damage. Also, it's only 3%, which is it's worse than 5% AP on the cruisers for 3 points. You could use last gasp for increased fighter. Then again, if you have increased fighter, your fighter is easier to, or like rotates in a wider area, which means you may lose them when you try to pop them for spotting. Other than that, fighter specs I guess are decent. If you know how to manipulate flak by flying into AA with full speed and at an angle and then turn in towards the actual attack angle or strike angle, then you never need this one on any carrier. That's essentially it. You just have to be more patient. You have to learn patience or patience on carriers to not pop your speed boost or like the engine consumable on the planes to reach a target faster. You have to have mostly full engine boost when you arrive. What you could do is on bombers or on specific carriers like Indomitable that work a bit different. You obviously don't want to take proximity fuse. You take the speed. Also on Immelmann that would maybe make sense. On Midway, like you can choose between them. This is just straight up 10% on torpedo damage. It's kind of disgusting on torpedo based carriers like Hakuryu and Malta. You obviously take it always. The only thing you should never spec is this. The rest doesn't matter. Just pick whatever, and you shouldn't really take these two at the same time because they negate each other. So yeah, you can spec speed through the modules, but don't spec it through the captain. In any case, spec whatever you want here, just dodge this skill. That's just a really bad skill, doesn't make sense at all. Rest is whatever. I mean, you can even run a 10-point commander, it doesn't really change much about carriers. The next basic thing for carrier specs is don't go into plane HP. I mean, obviously in this module you can only take plane HP, but always go for plane speed. 5% here, go for the plane speed skill on the carrier, like here. And that's why this one is also pretty viable on bomber focused carriers, just because they stack each other with the percentage-based buffs, so you make your bombers way faster. 5% doesn't sound them a lot, for example, on planes, but then you have to remember that the planes are around 200 knots mostly, so that's 10 knots more, just because, yeah. You go 5% on 100 and 5% on 100 again, you add that up together, you're doing a quick little quick maths, you get 10 knots. I run secondaries, because the torpedoes are already super fast and easy to aim. Just so I can't really get rushed by DDs that easy. It's kind of a meme on Richthofen. Also, the hull is essentially the tankiest carrier in the game, so you can sometimes run it in and get some sort of damage out of your secondaries, just because it doesn't matter specking anything else here. You go for the bomber damage because they're super susceptible for flak if you have to fly into flak clouds. The torpedoes are so fast and the rockets are so fast, and you can easily pre-drop them once that you don't really lose many planes, and they're so fast that you don't really need HP. As I said, you can manipulate the flak, and afterwards you're getting into the drop, so you dodge the flak, then you drop. After the drop you're in immunity, but you're full speed boosting still, so you're outside of the 3.5 kilometer mid and short range AA immediately. Like, you're never eating short range AA on Richthofen with torpedoes, really, or rockets, so yeah, well, essentially whatever. I don't really care about concealment. This one could be really good, or I think there's a viable option too on Richthofen, just because it has the heal on the bombers too. You could go for a increased heal spec here with the flag and the captain skill. But this one is just more basic. You get preparation time off and 2 planes per squadron, more in the hangar or on your ship. Yeah, and here always plane speed, not HP. Yeah, these two modules are given. There's not really much more to say about carriers. Great way actually to farm money, just because they don't need flags, so you can grief people in premium carriers and earn a whole lot of money. Most impactful class. Currently probably a bit less broken than submarines if played perfectly. Like submarines are way worse to deal with. Also a submarine has more, like a submarine is more coin flippy. Like if he decides to go for you, you're way more fucked than if a carrier goes for you. But if he doesn't decide to go for you, you're fine. Carrier can just switch target the entire time. Yeah, carrier spotting, instant crossfire, and instantaneous target switch on the entire map just makes this class completely retarded. On top of that, you also have turbo armored tanks that are roaming the server now with a 1-minute DCP and only like 3, 4, 5-second fires. So yeah, disgusting. You shouldn't play them, but at least you saw now that even Richthofen can do a whole lot of shit in one game. Hope you enjoyed it. If I should play another carrier, let me know. And take care. See you soon.